Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of EBC Sports International. I'm your host, EJ Gonzalez, coming to you from Alexandria, Virginia. Thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, I'm joined by a good group of friends who I love talking sports with. From Western Canada, we have Jolty.
What is up, everyone? We are only a few weeks away from NFL training camps. Let's go.
Let's go. And from Eastern Canada, we got Zarita.
Hey guys, we're like a couple games away from me not having a life because basketball's gonna be over.
Yeah, I know. It's just this is the last.
This is my life.
But good thing we have Olympics this summer, so there's gonna be a lot of sports to talk about.
Exactly.
And last but not least, my neighbor in the U.S. Capitol. What's up, Ken?
Question. What's better than one ring?
What?
2 rings. What's up? Guess what came in, guys? The Dodgers.
Finally.
Right.
Finally came in.
So either the Suns or the Bucks will get one of these. So
Yep.
If you're a fan, get ready.
Right. Well, I don't have any hardware on me, but it's great to be here with all you guys again. And before we go on, I just want to remind our viewers that we are by no means experts, but rather a good group of friends expressing our own opinions and sharing that same passion for sports. Now, let's get started with some sports news. First up, Jolty's got the scoop on the new NHL champion. Jolty?
Thanks, CJ. The Tampa Bay Lightning have won their second straight Stanley Cup championship. The Lightning defeated the Montreal Canadiens 1-0 on Wednesday night in front of a packed crowd on home ice at Amalie Arena. Rookie center Ross Colton scored the lone goal to lift Tampa past Montreal. The series was not expected to be highly contested, though, as Montreal struggled throughout the season, but went on a late run in the playoffs to make the final. And to top it off, after Montreal lost the first 3 games of the series, Tampa Bay Mayor Jane Castor publicly stated that she wanted the Lightning to take it easy in Game 4, which was in Montreal, so that the team could come back to Tampa and win the cup at home. The Lightning front office stated their displeasure with the comments, but nonetheless, that's exactly what happened as Montreal won Game 4 and the Lightning won the cup in Game 5 in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is the first team to win back-to-back since the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2016-2017. Goalie Andrei Vasilevsky, who was spectacular throughout the playoffs, won the Conn Smythe Trophy as the most valuable player in the final round. He's the first goaltender to win the award since Jonathan Quick of the Los Angeles Kings in 2012. Back to you, EJ.
Thanks, Jolty. Now, Ken has some news regarding the upcoming Tokyo Olympics. Ken, what's up?
Yes, sir. So an announcement by the Japanese Olympic Committee yesterday, the Tokyo venues of the Tokyo 2020, well, in this case, 2021 Olympics, will not have spectators due to the city's coronavirus state of emergency. This announcement came after a meeting between 5 Olympic and Japanese government groups in charge of the Games. A first of its kind, according to an IOC spokesman, the Tokyo Olympics are set to be held in 42 different venues. 25 are in Tokyo, with the rest spread out between 7 prefectures. 3 of those prefectures, Chiba, Kanagawa, and Saitama, will not have spectators. However, Miyagi, Fukushima, and Shizuoka prefectures will host spectators with a maximum of 50% capacity or 10,000 spectators. Because of a recent spike in COVID cases in Tokyo, along with the new Delta variant, which accounts for about 30% of Japan's cases, the new state of emergency in Tokyo will run from July 12th to August the 22nd. The Olympics will coincide with this state of emergency, which is from July 23 to August 8th. Tokyo lifted its previous round of state of emergency on June the 20th at the end of the country's 4th wave of infections. But cases have been rising again, prompting health experts to call for stricter measures. Japan has lagged behind Western countries in rolling out its vaccination drive. Only 15% of its population are fully vaccinated. compared to 47% here in the US and nearly 50% in the UK. Back to you, EJ.
Thanks, Ken. A quick preview. That's going to be a topic that we're going to discuss later with the panelists. But now, Zarita has a story on Boston Celtics Jayson Tatum and what it means to wear number 10 for Team USA. Zarita? Oh, Zarita, I think you're muted.
No, do we have to do that again?
I'll just say thanks, Ken. Okay.
Do I go?
Who should? Zarita. Okay, go.
Okay.
You can just straight to you, Zarita.
Just like Ken mentioned, we're just 2 weeks away from the whole world focusing on Tokyo for the Summer Olympics. And this week, Team USA's basketball team announced their jersey numbers for their final roster. So of those numbers, it was revealed that Boston Celtics star Jayson Tatum will don the number 10, which of course once belonged to the late Kobe Bryant. Though Tatum is no stranger to the international stage and representing his country, this will be the first Olympic appearance for the 23-year-old guard. And like many of us, we gravitate towards our favorite players' numbers as if they'll channel their energy and their skills when we wear it. And Tatum is no different, as he already rocked the number 10 for his international appearances. However, this will be the first time where Kobe Bryant will actually not be part of the roster, hence why Tatum feels all the more honored to be wearing number 10. So when he was asked what it means to him, Tatum said, "With this being the first Olympics since we lost him, it holds much more value. It's not something I take lightly." And with regards to his Boston Celtics, though it was an early exit for the Celtics this season, Jayson Tatum averaged 26.4 points, 4.3 assists, and shot 45.8% from the field for the 2021 season. When Team USA head coach Greg Popovich was asked about Tatum and what he means to the team, Popovich called him his go-to guy, just as Kobe once was once upon a time. So there's no doubt about it that Tatum will honor number 10 proudly for the upcoming Olympics. Back to you, EJ.
Thanks, Sarita. So that's all the sports updates for this week. Time for a quick break. And when we return, we open up the panel discussions. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Sumali po kami ng PME. Mas lalong nagbago yung buhay po namin.
Nagbuhayan kami ng pag-asa na makasaya ulit ng sama-sama.
Gagawin namin yung best namin para makuha.
Lahat itatry namin para talaga makamit yung mga pangarap namin.
Ito na yung pangarap namin. Lalaban namin to.
This program is supported by Magnolia Incorporated. Magnolia ready-to-cook fried chicken. Worry-free na on your next family meal. Yan ang alagang Magnolia. Pure Foods Tender Juicy Hot Dog. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy Hot Dog. Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. BMAG Premium and ProTac Plus Gold. SMC Infrastructure and Skyway Stage 3 Citrus Central Expressway Corporation. San Miguel Foundation Incorporated. Max Pro Northern Cement. Lamang ka dito. Petron Corporation. SMC Global Power. San Miguel Aero City Incorporated. Bank of Commerce, an affiliate of San Miguel Corporation. We think customers. We are IT Philippines Incorporated. Dynabank, your success is our business.
Kubert, your ultimate MAPS air conditioning solutions.
Welcome back to EBC Sports International. All right, we got to start with our favorite topic, NBA, the NBA Finals. The first two games of this year's NBA Finals have concluded, and the Suns took care of business at home to take a 2-0 lead. And now Game 3 heads back to Milwaukee and will be played there on Sunday. Lots to talk about here, so let's get started. Let's start with Zarita. Zarita, I want you to give us your takes and impressions on the Suns and Bucks series thus far. Did you expect more or less from either of these teams?
I think this is going how I expected it to, because this is going to sound bad, but I didn't expect much from the Bucks. I think I'm still under the impression that how do I put this? I didn't expect them to get to the finals, first of all. And I think for the Bucks to have a chance against Phoenix, they have to play a perfect game. Like Brooke, Drew, and Middleton all have to play at that level they played. I think it was Game 6, maybe, of the Atlanta series. And I think Phoenix is not even. They're close to their potential, but we haven't seen both Chris Paul and Booker going off like they should. Ayton's kind of a little bit timid in Game 2, but I think this is who the Bucks are, unfortunately. Giannis, the fact that he's out there, and I'm sure Ken will touch on this, is already like amazing on its own, but unfortunately he just doesn't have the support, and we've seen it throughout the playoffs where Middleton is streaky. He can have hot games. He can shoot a well percentage. But if 2 out of the 3 support casts are not there, they will not make it. They won't win a game. That's just how I think. So I think this series is going to be the easiest series for the Suns. I think the path that they had to get here helped them set themselves up to be successful. And I think this series is going to be done probably by Game 5, Game 6.
Wow.
If that's the Bucks pushing at Game 6.
Wow. Well, I mean, it's crazy because you pointed out like how good these guys stepped up in Giannis's absence in Game 6, right? Drew Holiday, Brooke Lopez, Chris Middleton, they can ball and they can put up some crazy big numbers. So it's like the games haven't been so far apart. So it's kind of like. I feel like the Suns. I'm rooting for the Suns, definitely. I'm such a big fan of Giannis, though. But I don't know. I don't think that this series is. I think the series is far from over. I mean, Suns did what they had to do, took care of business at home. Now it's heading back to Milwaukee, and if they take care of business there, then it's a whole new series in Game 5. But Jolty, the only guy in this series, right, who has experience in playing in the NBA Finals was Jay Crowder. No one else has ever played in the NBA Finals. So 2 games now notched in everyone's belt. Which player has impressed you the most in their NBA Finals debut?
All right, well, I'm going to give you 2 names. Let's start with the first one, though. Devin Booker has gone absolutely insane in this final so far. Game 1, 27 points, 6 assists. Game 2, 31 points, 6 assists. I mean, we already know this dude's a baller, right? Like, this guy's crazy. He showed us last year, especially in the bubble, he balled out. Like, he went absolutely crazy, carried it onto this year, brought it into the NBA Finals clearly in the first 2 games. I mean, he's obviously one of the best young players in the game today. If they can come out and even, you know what, I'm going to say, even if they lose this series somehow, which isn't going to happen, he's already cemented himself as one of the best young players in the game today. The second player I'll name is DeAndre Ayton. This guy has been dominating down low. Game 1, 22 points, 19 boards. The first person since Tim Duncan in 1999 to get 15 and 15, 15 points, 15 rebounds in a game. Funny enough, though, Giannis did it in the same game later on in the fourth quarter. So they were the first 2 people since Tim Duncan to get 15 and 15. Game 2 was only 10 points, 11 boards. But, I mean, this guy is just an absolute beast down low. Like, if someone's attacking him, he's always in the right spot. He's always in position. He's ready for whatever they throw at him. And even and I'm going to throw out a coach's name as well, not just the 2 players. So Kendrick Perkins tweeted about Suns assistant coach Mark Bryant. He tweeted that this man does not get enough credit for being one of the top assistant coaches in the league, with a picture of Mark Bryant's face. This guy worked with Dwight Howard, Serge Ibaka, Kevin Durant, and Russell Westbrook. And then even Kevin Durant retweeted it, which basically seconded what Kendrick Perkins says, because I mean, I think we all know we can't fully trust what Kendrick Perkins says all the time. But you know, once Kevin Durant retweets it, he seconds it. It's all there. And this guy's been working with DeAndre Ayton all season, and it definitely shows.
Yeah, I mean, but Monty Williams, man, I mean, this guy, I think should have been Coach of the Year. But I mean, did you even see, like you were saying, DeAndre Ayton, right? Did you see the way Monty Williams coaching him up despite him having a bad game, right? He said, bro, you put yourself on a pedestal. You set this standard for yourself and go out there and reach it. And what did he do? He still affected the game and helped the Suns to another victory. So, I mean, the coaching that Monty Williams has done, especially for the Suns franchise, who's been on a playoff drought for years, and now they're in the NBA Finals in their first year back into the playoffs. It's so amazing. But Ken, now I want to get to you, right? So, which player do you think this championship is going to be most important for in terms of their legacy, right? Is it Giannis? Is it Chris Paul? Do you think it's somebody else?
I mean, it's a smaller name than both of those, but can I just say how disgusted I was with the number 2 and number 3 guys from the Milwaukee Bucks this game 2. I mean, game 1 and game 2. Drew Holiday is the name, and then Chris Middleton close second. I mean, actually both of those guys. You know how much they lost by? 10 points in game 2. Like game 1, I understand, right? I mean, the Suns came out knocking, and then it makes sense. They've lost every single game 1 in this entire playoff series. Milwaukee has playoff run, and so for them to come out in game 2 the way they did, they came out nice and aggressive. Their defense was solid. Yeah. I before I even continue to knock Drew Holiday, his defense was amazing. He had a nasty block on Devin Booker, and he had an even nastier block on DeAndre Ayton. I don't know if you saw that dunk attempt, and he blocked them at the top. And that was just like, this guy is like what, like 6'4", 6'5", blocking a 7-footer at the peak. And I was just like, okay, awesome. You know, it's not awesome. 7 for 21 from the field. You can't be doing that, man. 1 for 3 from 3-pointers. You know, 17 points total. Like this guy, like I loved how aggressive he was to start the game. He had like maybe 7-8 shots within the first 5-6 minutes, but he only made like 1 of them. I think he was like 1 for 8. And I'm just like, my guy, like you're the 3rd, 4th option here. You're blowing wide open layups. You can't be doing this. Same thing with Chris Middleton. 5 for 16, 1 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3. Like, well, what are you doing? Like, you played 41 minutes, and he shot how many free throws? 0. Yeah. 0 free throws. You're too big. You're too good. You're too important to this team. If either one of those guys scored 5 points each extra, they would have, or actually one of them scored 6 points, and the other one scored 5 points, they would have won this game. This was a game for them to take. Why? Because Dario Saric who is the backup center for the Suns, has a torn ACL, and he's gone for the entire finals. And who's their backup big? Frank the Tank Kaminsky, like, who played 51 seconds of last game. If you get their big DeAndre Ayton, who is amazing, as Jolty said, in foul trouble, then you have Frank the Tank, who plays no defense, guarding you. And that would make guys like Brook Lopez, Giannis, Chris Middleton lick their chops. Why weren't they attacking DeAndre Ayton, who's very foul heavy? As great as he is, he's foul heavy. And so I was, and another crazy thing, you know how many threes that the Bucks shot? 31 threes for a team that was absolutely murdering the Suns in the paint, and they still shot 31 threes. You don't need to be shooting that many. Giannis, 42 points, but you shot 1 for 5 from 3. They're letting you shoot this on purpose. Yes, your free throws stink, but your 3-pointers are even worse. Like, he was 11 for 18 from the free throw line, which is 61%, and he's 20% from the 3-point line. Like, just do the averages in your mind, my guy. Like, take the ball in. No one can stop you. Did you see how many points he scored in the third quarter? Yeah. Second to Jordan in the last 25 years. 20 points. At any given, and this guy is playing with one leg. Last week, this guy, I was in that conference. Awesome that EBC was able to cover this the finals virtually. I was in that Zoom conference after the game with Giannis and after game one, and he said it himself. When I got injured in game 4, I think that was of the Hawks series, he thought that he was out for an entire year. He hasn't even watched that video. So if that happened to me, I probably wouldn't watch the video either. That was absolutely gruesome, disgusting. And for him to come back within a week's time, miss only 2 games, and be ready for game 1 of the NBA Finals, that's nothing short of amazing and heroic and Greek freaky. It's like it's one of those things where it was just absolutely insane, and it's insane that he has his shoulders are so wide because he had to carry this entire team. Like I just can't believe at how crazy of a carry job he did in both game 1 and especially in game 2. That was a heroic performance. But guys, you need Chris Middleton, you need Jrue Holiday to show up, and even Brook Lopez, 4 for 10 from the field is unexcusable against one center and a Frank Tank. Sorry.
Hey Ken, let me ask you a quick question though. You brought up the 3-point, how many 3 points they took, and they weren't attacking the Suns defense. They weren't attacking in the paint. Would you not? I mean, you're blaming the players. Would you not put that on Mike Budenholzer as well? I mean, if I'm the coach, I'm calling the guys to the sideline. I'm telling them, like, quit shooting threes, attack these dudes in the paint.
I mean, one of the reasons why, one of the funny things that you see in like the different I'm on Reddit all the time, right? And one of the big knocks on Coach Bud, other than the fact that he doesn't adjust very well, other than game 1, he adjusted very well because they were eating up Brook Lopez in the pick and roll and Bobby Portis in the pick and roll. DeAndre Ayton was getting free dunks all day. Then they switched up to Giannis at the 5, and that stopped right away. But I mean, it wasn't enough. But in game, and like he's notorious for not making in-game adjustments. But at the end of the day, like if guys are missing like wide open layups, like that's not Coach Bud's fault. Like I blame the guy for so much, but for like, missing wide gimme layups as a professional, like I understand like when people have the yips, Ben Simmons, but it's one of those things where I'm just like Coach Bud can't go out on the floor and make a layup for you. Like, you are a professional athlete. You have to be able to realize that, yes, this is the biggest stage out there in basketball other than the Olympics, but like you're paid so much money. Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday are on max contracts, guys. Max contracts. I know who was it? Was it Zarita? You brought up the fact that or was it EJ? You brought up the fact that these guys showed up when Giannis was out versus the Hawks, and yes, they did. They balled out, but at the same time, like for them to just like stand there and watch Giannis do his thing, and like not adjust while Giannis is still trying to get back into game shape. You saw how tired he was, like in between timeouts and stuff. Like, it's insane. Like I felt so bad for Giannis. This is what he worked his entire career for, and for him to be this close and have his teammates fail on him is an absolute shame. Giannis, you deserve better than this, dude. And even if the Bucks win this championship, if I were the owner of this team, would fire Coach Bud, because this team.
Just thinking that.
Yeah, this team should be like on paper like 4-0, 4-0, 4-0, 4-0, like pretty much the entire road. Maybe against the Nets, but I mean, like one thing I will say, the Nets series, they started 0-2, so, and look who won that series.
Exactly. I mean, that's why I don't think you can count out the Bucks yet, right? And Zarita, I wanted to switch over to you, because I wanted to ask you, right? Giannis has been playing out of his mind. Like, he's been critiqued in the past for not showing up in the playoffs. This guy's showing up in the NBA Finals, but it's not translating to wins, right? Do you think that this hurts Giannis' legacy if they lose the NBA Finals?
I don't think it hurts his legacy. I think with him, he just needs more experience. I think it hurts Bud more than anything. Like Ken was saying, even if they win, I would question his job. But I don't think it hinders him because everyone can see that Giannis is performing, but he just doesn't have the support system. So I think even though they're going to be in the finals, you're going to see a lot of adjustments with this team. But I just want to ask and put it out there for you guys. Is it a coincidence though that Giannis he had 40 plus points the other game? Does that correlate to his other teammates showing up? Like, does he clog up offense, or is it like ball movement, lack thereof?
You would think so, like based on like what is on the box score, I guess, or what you know, based on like 42 points, that's quite a bit. But like he only shot 22 times. You know who's the second amount of shots? Jrue Holiday at 21 shots. So he only took
basically the same amount of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
One more shot than Jrue Holiday, but literally almost 3 times as many points. And Chris Middleton with 11 points, like both and I know this for another segment, but both Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday are Olympians. That's a very, very, very poor showing for an Olympian. Like, come on. Like, if we're talking about points specifically, Mikal Bridges, 27 points. That guy showed up.
I mean, the Suns guys are showing up, and they're showing that they can. And exactly, it's team ball. There's this one possession where they passed the ball like 12 times up till the end of the shot clock.
Oh, the one with DeAndre Ayton getting the and one? Is that the one?
Exactly, an Ayton layup and one, and like you could see how much fun they were having and how much momentum was starting to shift at that point for Phoenix. Like their confidence rose to another level, knowing that they could just pass till they find an open shot right at the rim. It's like Phoenix Suns just know what they're doing. They look so composed, and I think you have to give credit.
It starts with Monty and the coaching staff.
And Chris Paul, because Chris Paul is definitely a leader on the floor. And if you ask Ayton, he said that Chris Paul is the best thing that's happened to his career. And that's why Ayton has that confidence. He's put himself on that tier where he wants to be expected, and he blames himself if he doesn't perform that well. So I think this championship is definitely more meaningful to Chris Paul than anybody else. These other guys are still young. They have more years to come, and I think they've cemented their cases to be contenders for seasons to come, both the Bucks and the Suns. But
hey, if he doesn't win this year, he can go join LeBron and the Lakers. Putting that out there.
Of course, always recruiting.
Automatic ring. I can put a third ring on my finger.
Man, all right, great conversation, guys. We'll take a quick break, and when we do return, let's talk on some topics regarding the Olympics. EBC Sports International. We'll be right back.
Si Mang John, isang masipag na tatayan. Lagi ko yung naaabutan sa kanilang bahay, gumagawa ng mga kalan.
Patuloy pa rin siyang malaban sa kanyang buhay. Tinatagawid na ng kanyang mga anak.
Hindi pangkaraniwan ang ipinamalas na pagpupursige at pagmamahal ni Mang Jun para sa kanyang mga anak.
Masaya po ako dahil nakikita ko po si Papa na nag-ano po ng kalan para lang po may makain kaming mag-ama.
Nagtatrabaho sa kabila ng kanyang kapansanan.
2 taon pa lang po ako. Yung mapansin po ni nanay yung paa ko po ay nakalawit. Nung unang panahon daw po ay wala pa daw pong kasi nung turok na polio.
Mahirap po talaga. Gumagapang si Papa kahit mainit para lang may makain kami.
Sinisikap po yung aking mga anak na mapagtapos. Ginagapang po sa kahirapan.
Ayo. Maraming salamat po sa programa ninyo.
Maraming salamat po talaga.
pagsisikapin ko po para makatapos ako ng pag-aaral.
Tupad na po ang aking pangarap.
Sa mga katulad niyang nagsisikap, may lilingap. Ako po si Apple David at ito ang Lingap Story.
Welcome back to EBC Sports International. Now let's continue basketball talk, but this time in relation to the upcoming Tokyo Olympics. Now, Luka Doncic, been making a name for himself in the NBA. He went back home and led Slovenia to their first ever Olympic berth with a triple-double performance. Now, this is the topic that I want to discuss. During a press conference, Luka was asked what he would value more, a gold medal with Slovenia or an NBA championship. And his answer, it was a gold medal with Slovenia. Now, he did add that he wouldn't mind getting both, right? Of course, who wouldn't mind getting both? But let's focus on his answer between the two. A gold medal with Slovenia in the Olympics would mean more to him than an NBA championship. I want to get your thoughts on here. Jolty, I'll start with you.
All right, I'm going to say this with the utmost respect. And I know when people say that, it normally means there is no respect. But this time I actually do mean it. If you are an American, you would not understand this. Okay, if you're an American NBA or Olympian basketball player, you would not understand this. Because every time you go to the Olympics, you're expected to win. You're going to win. I mean, 9 times out of 10, the U.S. wins the Olympics in gold medal in basketball, right? This is Slovenia's very first time ever in the Olympics. Luka basically led them there with a triple-double performance in their qualifying round to be one of the last 4 teams to qualify for the Olympics. This guy, he's one of the best young players, one of the best players, period, in the NBA. The NBA title happens every single year, right? He's going to win. If he doesn't win, he will be one of the best to never win, right? And there's already a list for that. He's going to be up at least top 2 or 3, one of the best to never win the NBA title. But to win a gold medal for your country is such a big thing. Like I said, especially when their country has never been there before. And basketball, it's not as deeply rooted in Slovenia as it is in other European countries like Croatia. What's the other one? Lithuania. I don't know if you guys remember the 94 Olympics with their tie-dye jerseys. I think it was in the Michael Jordan documentary.
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah, those are pretty dope. But I mean, it is absolutely, for someone who is not an American, much more treasured, much more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just such a huge honor to even be in the Olympics. But to actually win a gold medal and beat the Americans in the Olympics, like that has to top the cake for anyone who's not an American.
No, I could definitely see that side, right? Like, it's a good point that you bring it up. If you're not American, because every year USA is the ones with the chip on their shoulder. They gotta win, or else what are you doing? You guys are the best players in the NBA, and the NBA has the best players in the entire world. Right, and in Luka's defense, right, it's the first time Slovenia's ever made an Olympic berth. So for them to make an Olympic berth and to win a gold medal, that would be pretty historic. It's just, to me, it's like Luka's from Slovenia, right? He's from there. There's got to be a lot more Lukas in there, right? There's got to be a lot of good players in Slovenia still, because to me, it's like you're picking the best from an entire country. Right? You're picking the best of an entire country. The US has the best players, but sometimes they're not picking the best from the US. Like, not everybody on the US team is the very best in that entire country, right? So I feel like there's still a slight advantage when you're picking from a pool of the best of an entire country. But Zarita, let me ask you, what are your thoughts? Do you think that it undervalues the value of an NBA championship when Luka says that he'd rather win a gold medal?
I don't think so, not at all. I think, like Zolti was saying, the NBA and a championship with the NBA is the standard. It's like what everyone longs for. But it's funny that he brought up the fact that if you're not American, you hold it to a different standard, because that's exactly how I feel. When Canada didn't even make it to the Olympics, and we were all watching the tournament that they were heavily favored for, and it was hosted in Victoria, and we didn't make it. We lost out on an Olympic berth. I think it's been like 20 plus years since we've actually been to the Olympics, in overtime by like 2 or 3 points. And that's heartbreaking. And the fact that, I don't mean to harp on the American team, but you guys have your top talent saying, nah, I'm going to skip out this year. Like, I'm just going to rest my body or whatever. Meanwhile, Canada is like begging our Canadians to please represent this country. And we're getting guys that are playing international basketball, like they're essentially no names for anyone in the NBA. But it's just, you don't realize how lucky Americans are to be like, yeah, we're going to the Olympics. Yeah, we're favored. Like, yeah, we're watching NBA players. I'm like, can we just make it to the Olympics? Like, can we just see our guys play? I don't even care if they win. If they win, that'd be great. But Zolti makes a great point that if you're not American, it definitely holds a lot more value.
No, definitely. So Ken, how about you, man? What are your thoughts? Luke, I guess we're Zolti's an American. He just lives in Canada, right?
Okay, Americans, let's hear your thoughts, Americans.
Right, yeah. Ken, from an American perspective.
What can I say? Just first and foremost, Central Europe, stand up. What's up, man? I mean, like, Germany, first time at the Olympics since 2008, right? And then you have obviously Slovenia, and then as you guys mentioned, the upset city making it for the first time also, Czech Republic, thanks to Sadaransky, right? I mean, like, it's I mean, they're going to be an
former
easy
wizard.
Yeah, they are going to be an easy out in the same pool as France and the U.S. But I mean, it's one of those things where I definitely understand where Luka's coming from. I mean, and you also got to understand that he's the star player. He is the star of that country. Like, I mean, Luka's a star in the NBA, but he's one of many stars. And so for his star to shine and like to go, like, I mean, look, Space Jam 2 comes out next Friday. If Luka wins the gold medal for Slovenia in the end, in early August, that's Space Jam 3. I mean, he's pretty much playing against Team USA, who's like, the version of the Goon Squad. It's just like he's pretty much. It would actually be like they would just like film that documentary and then put Space Jam 3 on top of it. Like, it would just that's what it would be like. It's that improbable, because I mean, yes, the Team USA isn't sending all over their best, but I mean, if you see this roster, it's absolutely insane. Kevin Durant, Dame Time Lillard, Devin Booker, who's also in the Goon Squad of Space Jam. I mean, like, that's how good this dude is. Jayson Tatum, as we mentioned earlier, and then like Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, we'll see about that. And then you have Zach LaVine, Draymond Green, Bam, Jeremy Grant, Bradley, Washington D.C. Beal, and then the corpse of Kevin Love is also coming. I mean, like, it's like it's gonna be like this is a well-rounded team. I mean, like all of these guys are still household names other than Jeremy Grant. But I mean, that guy is a hooper right now. I think if it were up to me, I would have put in Julius Randle over Jeremy Grant. But I understand for international ball, Jeremy Grant, I think, is a better all-around pick. The only way that I feel like Team USA will have any sort of weakness is on the big side, right? I mean, they're not. It's not a huge team. But I mean, with KD, honestly, with KD on the team, I just like if it was just KD and friends, like it would be enough. But this is KD, a very well-rounded roster. The team that I would say is the biggest threat to Team USA winning another gold would be Spain, and that's because they have the Gasol brothers, you have the Hernan Gomez brothers, who are not as popular, but then they also have Ricky Rubio, who always shows up.
Doesn't Ibaka also play for Spain, or is he's still injured?
Well, I mean, Ibaka is probably going to be still wearing those weird dresses on the sideline. I mean, of the Olympics. That's
called fashion, Ken.
I was going to say it's called fashion.
I'm fashion.
Come on, Ken.
Yeah, I'm fashion behind. I'm sorry, that's a little too futuristic for me. Just like Kanye's outfit over in the fashion show with Friends. Yeah, what is that? But I mean, like that's honestly the team that I see giving them a run for their money. I mean, maybe Team Germany. I mean, Schroeder's playing for that team, but I don't see. Oh, Australia. Australia is a solid squad too. They got Mills, Baines.
Baines.
Yeah, I mean, Baines is. I honestly feel that Baines would give Team USA some trouble. I mean, he's just a big, strong body, and I feel like he would do very well in international ball. And you got Joe Ingles. That's that guy would thrive.
Yeah, Joe Ingles.
Yeah, he would thrive in international ball. So I think, and Deladova, who's just like a pest. I mean, I feel like it's gonna that would be Australia and Spain. I think would be giving Team USA the biggest trouble. But at the end of the day, like unless Team USA has a catastrophic meltdown, it shouldn't be close.
That and health, right? Because that's been a concern all year in NBA.
I mean, look at these playoffs.
Right.
It's just like
that's what I'm saying.
Like Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday are gonna go straight from the finals, and Devin
Booker, right?
Straight to the finals. To Vegas to train for this Olympics. It's insane.
Yeah, no break. And that's the thing. It's all about health. So, which is a good segue to our next topic, right? As Ken reported earlier, there will be no spectators at the upcoming Tokyo Olympic Games. And before that declaration, there was already a prohibition for international spectators. But with the surge in cases in Tokyo, there are now no more spectators in most of the events. So I want to hear your thoughts. Zarita, do you think that the Olympics should even still be held? I know for sports, not thinking as a sports lovers, but just in general, do you think that the Olympics should still be held?
I think it should. I think we're far further along than we were when we were considering like the NBA bubble, which they do now because of vaccines and things like that. And we've seen the success when you isolate the athletes. And all the more I think it should happen because it only happens for every 4 years. I think this one, they pushed it, right? Like it was supposed to be last year. These athletes at these levels, they've been training for so long, hoping for this moment. And regardless of whether or not fans are there, they could care less because all they want is to actually perform at this level and show what they've been training for. So I think because we've seen the success of isolation of these players, making sure the right protocols are in place, it can be safe. So I think it should continue, but it's just hard when it's on an international level.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, Josie, I wanted to ask you, right? I mean, like with no fans, I mean, it's hard to perform in a stadium full of fans, but now no fans. Do you put an asterisk on any winners now? And what do you think? Is there any concerns when it comes to health-wise, like we were discussing earlier?
I wouldn't put an asterisk on anyone because when there are fans in the stands, your adrenaline is pumping. You're bound to perform better, especially let's talk strictly track, right? You're bound to perform better when there are 20, 30, 40,000 people screaming, getting you all pumped up, getting you excited. When you're doing long jump, they have like the people clapping to get you into rhythm, right? We covered a track event a few weeks ago here in Canada, and there were no fans in the stands. And, we asked a couple of the athletes this same question, like, did it affect you at all? And they were like, basically saying like, I feel like I was slower. I felt like I was heavier when I was jumping. I felt like, because we covered high jump, we covered javelin. Like they're like, we didn't feel like it was an actual event. They felt like it was a training session, so they didn't give it their all. So in my opinion, I wouldn't put an asterisk on any of these things. If you win, you're the best of the best. If you set a record, that's even better. Like that's an asterisk, but like a positive asterisk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely a great take. Like with that insight, especially you speaking to the athletes who are competing, it's like Yeah, I mean, I would want the adrenaline, and if there's less adrenaline and I'm still able to break a world record, then that's like even more impressive than if there were people in the stands, right? But with the international traveling, it's just so questionable. Like, I mean, this is how it all started, right? A lot of international travel, and this is how it was brought. This pandemic was brought around the entire world. But like Zarita was mentioning, with the vaccines and everything, it should be a lot safer, and a lot more is known about the virus. But I mean, with the Delta variant, I don't know. There's a lot of things, but I think it's good for the world to watch the Olympics and watch these guys compete and be proud of their country, right? So I think that it should still go on. Maybe I'm a little biased because I'm a sports lover, but time for another break. But when we return, we'll talk about a little golf, a little football, and of course, we'll have our EBC question of the week. EBC Sports International will be right back.
Sales can be a very challenging profession even on a regular day. At dahil sa pandemic, ang pagsasagawa ng harap-harapang mga pagpupulong o face-to-face meetings ay nagiging hamon para sa ating lahat. All contact is now done digitally through video conferencing, emails, or chat, which could potentially lead to miscommunication. Paano natin makukuha ang loob ng ating mga kliyente kung hindi natin sila nakikita ng harap-harapan? Yan ang ating aalamin ngayon. Ano nga ba ang strategies for success in remote selling? Tatalakayin ito ni Randy Bernardino, ang ating OFB correspondent mula sa Las Vegas, kasama si Mr. Paulo Tibig.
We have to practice selling the virtual way. Adapt and then stay relevant.
All these in this episode of Open for Business.
Hello everyone and welcome back. Now the TNT's The Match was held earlier this week, and as we talked about before on the show, there was a lot of chatter leading up to the showdown. There was a lot of back and forth as well on the course as the lead seesawed back and forth in the front nine, but eventually was all tied up going into the back nine. In the end though, Bryson DeChambeau and Aaron Rodgers had the last laugh and defeated Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady. But Ken, I'm gonna start with you. Rodgers looked like he was throwing touchdown passes off the tee box, man. So Bryson is known for these long drives, right? He hits it long and straight, but the pair used Rodgers shots from the tee box 7 out of 8 times from holes 4 through 11. Now, would you say that Rodgers has the better golf game than Tom Brady?
That's a big obvious. I mean, like Brady's what, like 0-2 in these things. It's one of those things where, he's the GOAT, NFL player, potentially the GOAT athlete. But I mean, when it comes to specifically golf, Rodgers has him by a mile, man. I mean, the guy looks like he can actually stop, never put football cleats on again and just play golf, semi-pro for the rest of his life. I mean, he's that good. I mean, he looked like he could play with either of those guys, and as you can see, and hang. I mean, like it was very, very impressive. That's actually the first time I've seen him play. I mean, like the only thing that he didn't do well was dodge questions about where he was going to be playing next. Like he tried his best to have a stone cold face whenever he was getting asked. But I mean, I think if anything that Brady did better than Aaron that day was, man, he knows how to like jab at a guy, and he did such an amazing job of like random stuff. It's just like, yeah, and he did the Jeopardy question on him, and then he did also the one where he's just like, oh yeah, the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, I think. And I was like, wow. I was like, man, this guy is a professional. You know what Tom Brady reminds me of as far as like how his personality is now? Kobe in his last like 2-3 years of playing is just he just turned from like, stoic, you'll never get under my skin, to just old man uncle crazy guy, like saying random stuff that everybody loves, just being like really relatable. And it's just like, I love it for the game. And I love that this is the way that he's going out because, you know, a lot of people are seeing his personality shine. And that's why I'm hoping that a lot more athletes like go out this way or just like are open to revealing themselves and allowing them you know, their personalities to be exposed like this, because it's great you're able to see like how an athlete's mind works, and it's a nice refreshing sight. And that's why I think it's like, even though it's like literally 4 guys just golfing an entire day like and not being pros about it, it was still very entertaining. I mean, it also helps that you have guys like Charles Barkley on the show as well. I mean,
right, no, but I mean that's the beauty of golf, man. This is why I love the sport of golf, man. It brings out a different side of you, whether it's a more serious side or a less serious side. But it's a lot of fun just hanging out with, you know, other athletes and competing. I mean, it's really a dogfight on the course, whether it's trash talk or you actually hitting some good shots. But yeah, so Jolty, like Ken mentioned, right? Brady was throwing those jabs and Aaron Rodgers was dodging them, or at least he was trying to, and never made a confirmation whether or not he would be returning as a Green Bay Packer. Now, do you think that the Packers should be concerned, or do you think Rodgers coming back is inevitable?
I mean, listen, this Rodgers-Packers saga has already lost him so much money. So let's just talk about money, okay? So it so far has lost him $500,000 by not showing up to meetings. Once minicamp starts in a few weeks, he'll lose roughly another $100,000 in salary. He would lose out on another $500,000 if he doesn't show up to a certain number of OTAs, which is optional training, off-season training activities. But that's chump change compared to what he'll lose if he sits out this season. All right, so let's get to the real numbers. He'll lose out on $14.7 million of base salary, $6.8 million roster bonus because he'll technically not be on the roster, and an $11.5 million signing bonus that is due to him this year that he would forfeit, bringing the total number up to over $35 million that he'll lose out on if he sits out this year. I'm not a financial advisor, okay? But you have to have a ton of money if you're thinking about giving up $35 million for 1 year. Jeez. So there is, no, in my opinion, there's no way he's sitting out this year.
Well, that's the thing. He got another job on lock, and that's Jeopardy host. And they were saying he'd make more than what he's making in the NFL if he were to sign the pen and be the permanent Jeopardy host, bro. So
he's a competitor, though. He's not going to give up football. Yeah. He wants to play somewhere else. The Packers aren't going to put him somewhere else because they're like, if they trade him, they are still going to owe his salary to him. So they're not going to, like, they're going to be on the hook for $35 million of salary cap if they trade him. They're not going to trade him. They're not going to cut him because they're going to owe him that money. The only way he doesn't get that money is if he sits out. So it's on him. It's not on the Packers.
Yeah, it's crazy though, because he's really standing firm and not coming back. Of him really like, yeah, I'm still not giving an answer. It doesn't matter. So this guy has to have a backup plan, and it could be Jeopardy host. But all right, let's go to our last segment of the show. Of course, we can't end without the question of the week, and we know the Olympics will be so different without fans. So it's a good opportunity for us to imagine we're there witnessing history. Question of the week is, what Olympic event, past, present, or future, would you want to witness in person? Zarita, I'm starting with you.
So this is the Canadian me talking, but the 2022 Salt Lake City Olympics, where both our men's and women's hockey team faced the U.S. for the gold medal matches, and we won. So I would love to be at either one of those games. I just remember watching it. I think I was in elementary school, the gym, they put tons of TVs everywhere and we got to watch it live. And once upon a time, I did like hockey, and that was that time.
Wow. We should talk more hockey on the show then.
Yeah, Zolty got it. Zolty can talk.
I know, not me. But Zolty, so how about you? What's your answer to the question of the week?
Listen, I'm going way back, okay? Pre-World War II, and when I say pre, I mean right before World War II, 1936, Berlin, Germany. Hitler's Olympic Games. Jesse Owens, a Black American, wins 4 gold medals and sets a world record in long jump. I would love to be sitting there and just seeing the Hitler's face when all of this goes down. It would make my dreams come true.
That's a good one. Ken, how about you, man?
Gotta be the Redeem Team. Gold medal match versus a Team USA versus Spain when Kobe went on a 12-2, helped with a 12-2 run in the fourth quarter to secure the gold medal for Team USA after a pathetic bronze medal finish in 2004 in Athens.
Yeah, easy choice for a Kobe fan. For me, it would be in the future. Wishful thinking that Tiger Woods gets healthy. And, golf hasn't been in the Olympics for over 100 years. They brought it back last Olympics and they have it again this year. If for some miracle he's able to get back on there and win in the Olympics, I got to be there to witness it. But that's all the time we have for this week's edition of EBC Sports International. On behalf of everyone on our panel, thank you so much for joining us, and be sure to tune in again next week. Make sure to visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at EagleNewsPH to join the conversation. For EBC Sports International, I'm EJ Gonzalez, and we live in interesting times.